Doing some great work. I know we've had several of the churches come through, which has been great, and I think we're going to be able to show and demo some of that today, which would be great. So
All the cool churches, right?
all the cool, yeah, only the
Yeah.
cool ones, you know. There's a couple. There's early adopters and then late adopters, and believe it or not, there's early adopter districts. And then there's late adopter districts. So you guys happen to be an early adopter district, but within your district, there's early adopters and, laggers.
The
So
laggards.
hopefully we're going to find some good early adopters here and, begin to you got to run with the runners. You got to go with the goers, right? So that's what we're going to attempt to do. And I think we did a decent job of at least setting the table at the district meeting. It felt like it was pretty strong, and I was laughing because Mark was so generous in giving me an hour's worth of time, and I was literally thinking that there was maybe 20 minutes of content. So I was like, "This is generous, thank you." And so we were thrilled to have that much space, in your really, really, very, very focused meeting, which was great. And it seemed like the meeting itself went well. It felt like and everybody stayed to the end, I think. So, which was good. So awesome.
I think I was sharing the app with a Korean pastor that lives down the road from me. So he started asking me some questions about it. So we'll see if the Methodist Church of Camarillo signs up
Okay.
for it. Yeah.
Let's see, right? That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you right now, if I'm sharing, let me just give you a bird's eye view of what I'm seeing so far. And again, there could be additional churches that are not showing up in this yet. We've got four that have kind of pulled into your cohort, into your network. So under the Los Angeles District of the Nazarene, and I don't know, Brooke, maybe we should look and see if there's a few other stragglers out there that registered but didn't actually get inside of they might have used the wrong QR or something and didn't register inside of here. But we could be looking on that. But what's cool about this, just so you could see, is you've got 53 lights, right? So what that means is that day when we were in front of those folks and we asked them to download the app, 53 people did that. And so they're now praying and you've got 1,400 North prayers. People, do they pray? I don't know if they pray less in the Nazarene church. I don't know they probably don't pray less. I'm just joking. But they're getting used to praying with an app, which is, definitely different, right? It's a different feeling. So, but you could see just to give you sort of the lay of the land of this actual um, dashboard here, you've got nationwide, there's just over 4 million homes that have been adopted. And again, the home is basically saying, hey, we're going to pray over this particular home. California, 187,000, and then Los Angeles district, already at just north of 2,200 homes, which is great. Like that's a great first month. Say, hey, we're actually making some progress here. Um, so this is what you guys get to see as a district, which is great. And then we're going to drill down on, the purpose I think of this call is to help churches assimilate and to figure out how this works. So we're kind of working from the top down so that you guys can kind of get a sense of the power of this. So you've got the as a network, you're able to see all of the churches who are participating. Their numbers would appear here. You could see some of these churches are doing a little bit more. James is leading the way. Look at that. Look at you, man. Oh yeah. He's no joke, man. He's got 7 lights already, which is great. And so so I think what we're going to share today is going to make sense for you. You're going to go, okay, this is great, and you'll begin to understand how this plays out strategically, across the denomination. A few other things that you guys have, you could see, basically where the map. This is where the district, I believe, where the district HQ is, or at least where the HQ address is. And so when we look at the organizations and the churches, right now you'd be able to basically see all of the churches. So, if that ended up being all 70 of them or 78, whatever the number is, you could begin to populate them. And then you'd be able to see where all your lights are. So imagine if there really were, I think we had talked about a goal of being 40 churches, like
41.
exponent 41 churches exponentially, this thing would light up. Like you would have this whole area like going gangbusters. Now, on top of that, there already are churches using it across the LA district, right? So it just by proximity, the if you layered these lights on top of those lights, it would be a multiplication factor, which would be great. But these are the things that you're able to do, which is pretty wild. The second thing that there's two things that we ask churches to do when they first come into Bless, and this will be super helpful, for your churches when they think about this. But the two things that we really ask them to do, one, actually, Brooke is on this call with us. Do you want to share that slide? Because I think she just created something that was just like, oh, this is going to really, really work good. So maybe let's share. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and let me see if we can just walk you through kind of the way we see life, a little bit of the blessed life, right? How we see it. So this was the deck that I shared with you guys on, who's my neighbor and all that. And then when it gets down a few layers, we've got actually, you know what? Let's go to the top, Brooke, real quick, and I'm just gonna do a quick recap, like a 30-second recap. So this idea of neighboring, why are we doing neighbors? Because we have neighbors all around us. The Lord really commanded us, next slide, to love our neighbors with all our heart, with our soul, our strength. Love the Lord and then our neighbor as ourself. And so we believe that the best way to do this is habitually. I love this version because it says, do this habitually and you will live, and we never really think about neighboring as something that we have to be intentional with, but we really do. So many of us on this call, we've got that neighbor that drives us nuts. But what if they were our assignment, right? What if we saw them as the opportunity for us to share the gospel? What would that look like? It would change everything radically. And if you think about the 50 people around you, and I know we're thinking about one neighbor at a time, but if you saw the 50 people around you as the community that you were supposed to invest in, right? That's what will become an absolute difference maker. Let's hit that next slide. We have created this app called Bless. And so the entire functionality of it is based on spiritual practices. And so it's these five: begin with prayer, listen, eat, serve, and share your story. The idea is if you do those five things every day, right? If you're focused on getting up and praying for my neighbors, getting up, praying for my family, praying for my coworkers, praying for those around me, and then looking for opportunities to listen, to have a really good conversation with the people around me. Uh, most likely, if you are really listening and walking up to the mailbox and striking up a conversation with a neighbor, you will have an opportunity to share the gospel, most likely, right? And then finally, eating, this idea of inviting people into an experience where you can show hospitality. It could be going out for a coffee, it could be grabbing a lunch, could be some form of hospitality where you are entertaining another person as part of blessing them. and then serving them. That S for serve. How do we do that? What does that look like? What are the tangible methods and ways to do this, and serving well? I mean, in the summer, it's California. You guys aren't what do you get? Rain 4 times a year, so you probably don't get much snow, if any. So shoveling driveways and all that kind of stuff is not a big thing. And you probably don't grow any grass because there's no rain, so you probably don't even have to mow your lawns. But there might be other ways that we could serve our neighbors and do things that way. But I think of the fires, like how many people were deeply impacted by those fires and what happened in that moment that changed everything, right? It was probably neighbor helping neighbor. It were people rolling up their sleeves. How can I help? Um, Imagine if we had a tool where we could track our neighbors and actually keep those conversations so that when the next disaster happens, like we actually have a game plan. We have 50 people that we're actually committed to. Like, and it's reciprocal. Like at some point, it gets to the place where you become known in your community as the person of peace. You become known in the community as the person who is, really on point to solve problems. Like, oh my goodness, my marriage is completely, uprooted. I need to go to Pastor James, not because he's a pastor. They might not even know you as Pastor James, but because you pray for everybody in your neighborhood, right? That is the light. You are the light to the neighborhood. And that's one of the things that we kind of anchor on. I'm not going to show this next video, but it's something that we definitely could give you guys access to, which is great. And it's the story of city transformation in Indian River County, which is really, really powerful. But let's go to that next slide, and we'll walk you through what it means to have this light account. So when a person opens up their light account, they get the names of 50 of their closest neighbors. So it hits their inbox. There's a little bit of an onboarding inside of the app itself, but there's a couple different ways and we're going to show you how to do this. But if I was the pastor of the church and I was trying to get people to use the app, there's two things I would do immediately. One, I would send out a text with the link to our church to actually sign up for the app. That's one thing I would do, and I would do that to maybe like 10 of the people in my church, see if we can get a little bit of mass usage. The second thing I would do is then talk about it from the front. So I would do the friendlies first, folks that I know are going to download this and participate with me, evaluate it, right? And then I would do the big push from the front. And again, you might have a church of 50 people, you might have a church of 500 people. It's going to be all over the place, but getting a few people to use this at the front end is going to be helpful. And then the next slide here shows a little bit of what that experience looks like. So when a person downloads the app, all of a sudden they get inside of the app a list of 5 people to pray for every day. It's just 5 a day. So if you've got 50 on your list, it's going to be split up to 5 a day. So it's not overwhelming. I mean, you could pray for more, which is fine, but you basically track like a Fitbit your prayer inside of the app. And what's beautiful about it is um, you can start taking notes on people. Now, some people might go, well, that's absolutely creepy. But the reality is, if Terry was praying, there's probably a few people that she wants to track, remember certain things. So like 2 days ago, we're literally walking down the street, and all of a sudden, my wife and I are like looking at these people like have a little piece of land, and they put up what they called their own personal national um, park. It was the craziest thing. I'm like going, what the heck is going on here? They literally said that their front yard was a national park, and they had signs and everything. And so anyway, she ends up driving by. Well, now all of a sudden we started this conversation. And she's like, "Hey, can I help you? You guys, do you want?" Well, now we've been communicating back and forth. Well, I'm taking notes on my phone, right? And it's all good communication, but it's like taking an interest in your neighbor, right? And trying to figure out how you can help them, how to serve them, ultimately how to share the gospel with them, right? And so then over here, you not only get the full list, so like at any point you can see your full list of 50 people. And by the way, you're not limited to 50. If you're like a total evangelist and you're like, no, 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 our neighborhood has 300 people, great. You can basically go in and opt into all of those names, and then it populates in a map inside of your phone so you can see it, right? And just so everybody's clear, this is publicly available data. So as creepy as that might look, this is all publicly available data. And I used this at the district meeting, but how many of you remember the white pages? Like that's what we're talking about. This is the white pages. You used to get these books delivered to your door. Some of you had 36 copies of them. It's stuck in your, closet. That's what we're talking about. So now you have it in your phone. It's the white pages, right? And we're just helping you navigate who's in your backyard, who those people are. Let's click that next slide, Brooke. And so if you're a church, right? What we want you to do, we want to invite you in as part of the LA district to download the app and actually download these free church ministry tools. And they're not actually free. The ministry tools, the app is free to your congregants. The ministry tools, there's a scholarship involved. Now, thank you, thank you, thank you to the LA district. We have some scholarship money available to you, and we can talk about that a little bit later. So some of the stuff that we're talking about is available to you, and you can actually, the way that we've worked it out with the LA district is you can pay what you can afford, right? And we'll talk about that at the end of this and a little bit more. But once you create a church account, then you'll be able to track the progress of all of your lights, right? So if you have 10 lights, if you have 100 lights, you can track it. And it's super fun to watch people getting super engaged with their faith. And, it's really what pastors want to know. Like, is what I'm preaching on Sunday actually happening Monday through Saturday, right? And the answer is we don't know. We don't know. But what if we could know? That's what the Bless app is. We help you know the spiritual ROI, right? And then you can build an entire narrative for your preaching and teaching off of it, right? Which is great. Let's hit that next slide. This is part of those church tools. So the church gets to actually view what those lights look like, right? And so they can see how many lights, so they might preach a great sermon on blessing your neighbor, and then they can see and populate all the lights, from their congregation, which is great. You can see the church there right in the middle. But then there's a scorecard. It's like a dashboard that shows you how you're doing. And it's super helpful to really um, keep you guys on track. So say you set a goal. Hey, we want to, we would like to see 50 lights in our church. Okay. We get the 50 lights. Well, then now those 50 lights, when they download the app, each received 50 homes that they're praying for. So you start doing the math, right? So you could see down here on this church view, 371 lights have adopted 11,392 homes. So all that means is that 371 people have basically said, "Hey, I want to pray for 50," right? Or whatever the number is. And that's how we get the number of homes. And then there's another little node on here called believers. So one of the things that we've challenged our people that are using Bless to do is to begin to identify folks that are in their backyard that might be believers. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule. You are not sanctifying them by putting them down as a believer, right? All you're saying is we have reason to believe that they're a believer. We don't know if they're like a 1 to 10, if they're like strong believer or if they're, a marginal believer. We just know that there is a level of belief and faith that they did they do the 12 classes? No, we don't know that. That's not what we know, right? What we know is we had a good conversation. We think they're believer. Okay, hit that next. I just wanted to make that point. So the two things that we encourage the churches to do is one, try to get lights, right? As many lights as they can so they can begin to see activity. But the second thing that is part of the scholarship is that you can also upload all of your attenders. So this is a really powerful tool because a lot of churches have no clue. I mean, they have an idea of where their attenders live, but when they begin to map it out on a map, it's a complete game changer because now strategically they can start thinking like, where do we need to drop, small groups? Hey, where do we need to do outreaches? Hey, where do we need to be planning a second church. Like, what does that look like? Well, you don't have to guess anymore. Now you can see the roadmap of where you are. You also might find that, like, say, you're a pastor at a church and you have access to your church management system, you would download it in a CSV file, right? And some of the things that you could do, you can kind of see over here, like this particular church has a bunch of different nomenclature that they're using. You might have a specific nomenclature that you want to use. So it might be, we have a first time attender, we have a visitor, maybe we just call them a guest, maybe it's a staff member. Like you can identify in that CSV file, how you want that to appear inside of this attender list. And then you upload it and it populates your map, which is really, really cool. Hit that next slide. So this is an example of where the Florida district is. And I think when we talked, they had like 41 or 40 lights. Now I want you to be encouraged because they're like 6 months in and they have 306 lights with 40 churches. Okay. You guys are a month in, and I think we said that you had let me just double check. I'm looking at my other screen here. 53 lights. So with very little push, you've already got 53 lights, and I think only four churches participating. So if I'm doing the math right, Pastor Mark, you should be able to blow these guys out of the water.
That's what I'm talking about, because that's
That's
what I'm
right.
about.
We're not messing around. We're just blowing Florida out of the water. All right. So hit that next slide. Here's the current view of the LA district. Now, this was current as of June. Hit it one more time. Um, this is like projected, like what would it look like? Now, this actually is, I didn't like Photoshop this. So this screen that I shot in June are actually the churches that are using Bless in LA. So I used this, tagged it to say, what would it look like? But in reality, this is really what it looks like right now. And the good news about that is hit that next slide is there could be 70,000 light or 7,000 lights across here. So imagine 7,000 people praying for 50, right? That's a it's a big deal. That's a big deal. And like strategically, if we were able to use this software to begin to map that out, what that looks like, I think we would see some really, really, really great results. Brooke, why don't you advance us to the grace piece? Because I think that's helpful. And I'm going to have, do you mind sharing the grace piece?
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
You guys, this is Brooke. She runs all of our customer success. And I'm going to just brag on her. She just married one of my sons. So now she's in the family. So
um,
only give high regards for her, okay? So
wow, thank you.
she's family. All right.
Thanks for that. So we just kind of made this methodology for churches if you're interested in signing up. Like, what's the simple process to help us get started? Because this can seem like a lot. And so basically, we just made this acronym called GRACE. And this is just a 5-step process of how you would kind of get started with Bless, and then how you would just automatically start implementing it in your church and community. So the G stands for get started. First step is to sign up and create your church account if you haven't yet. So you can do that at app.blesseveryhome.com/sign up. And this will take you through a sign up process. It'll ask you, the size of your church and the address and everything. And then kind of at the end of that at the end of that process, you can claim your scholarship. We didn't really go into the 3 different scholarships for LA and Naz, but we can do that. But yeah, for the LA and Nazarene district, there's 3 different scholarships. So you just grab whatever code for the amount that you want to pay. There's kind of you just pay what you want to. So use your specific coupon code at
You
the
want to just
yeah.
switch the slide up to it and then just walk us through it real quick.
Yes. Here
That's
it
good.
is. Okay. So basically we split it into, let me move my screen here. I guess there's 4 different options. You can pay the full price for the Bless Partner. So that'll give you access to see all of the lights that sign up in your church and give you access to the map to upload your attenders, kind of those basic things we were talking about earlier. That's what Bless Partner is, and the what we're offering at LA Naz. So you can either pay the full amount if that's something that your church has resource for. Awesome. You can go ahead and go forward with that. You can get a full scholarship, and you would pay nothing for that entire year. So this is for 1 year of the Bless Partner. You can get that scholarship for no cost to you. We have a code that gets it down to 150. If you're like, my church can pay for 150 and I need the rest scholarshiped, we have that available. And then also you can either get it for $75. So whatever your church can afford, has resources for, great. But yeah, that full scholarship is also available as well. So that's kind of the breakdown for that. And then let me go back to this slide.
So this is an area where we've been having hiccups with churches is getting signed up, is they somehow get plugged in and end up spending like 900 plus. And so
Yeah.
I know we have a specific link that takes them to this page that allows them, and it automatically puts in the code. And we have made clear that if they need the special like code to put in, like I have that available for them. Is there another way that you would recommend communicating that to churches of how to take advantage of this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw something come in for like $900. I'm like going, what is going on here? Like why? So what they must have done was just go to the site and not put in the code, not click through this link. That's probably what happened.
Yes. So
And we're
yes.
happy, by the way, Sue. We'll reimburse those churches for that. They don't have to like
I'm pretty sure that the one that did spend $900, we've already I think fixed that.
Yeah.
But I know that there's been others who have had trouble and they were about to spend that money and have called. So I know we're
okay.
recording this. And so I just for people here, but also people that may
Mhm.
watch this video and sign up in the future, just making it clear, like come and check in with me and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, it
Yes.
feels like too, if we pushed out maybe post this webinar, we could push out a distinct email with that direct link, maybe.
Yeah,
If we have
I'm planning to include this in the newsletter that goes out at the end of the week.
perfect. That'd be great.
And we can
All
have
right.
those coupon codes clearly listed too, so that they can plug it in as well. Because this just takes them to the checkout page, and then they'll have to go find the coupon code from you or from the website. But if you wanted to attach the codes already in that email newsletter as well, and they can just plug it in. Does that sound good? Okay.
It's like the secret menu at Starbucks, like
Yes. Right. But yeah, great question. And if anyone has any questions, I'm also here. Brooke at theblessapp.com can also help as well. Um, but yeah, after you claim that scholarship and make sure you claim the scholarship, don't pay full price. We that moves us on to the A in Grace, which is add your attenders. And then that's kind of what Tim walked through earlier is you can download your church's CSV file of attenders and upload it to your Bless app account, and then you automatically see kind of your reach, and it automatically just adds value, kind of helps get this moved along, and you're automatically going, oh, that's where, my church reach is so far. Um, so that's the third step. Fourth step is the C, connect with 10 people. That's where Tim said, send that link to 10 people. So send this. This is just a basic sign up link. Whoops, click pass. So app.blesseveryhome.com/sign up. Send that to 10 of your friends, 10 of your, team members at church, people you want to start being a light kind of right now. We've seen like leadership teams start it, and then automatically you already have like your whole leadership team praying, which is a great way to just start simple. You don't have to automatically go to 100 lights. Just start with like an easy 10. Who are 10 people I can send this to right now, and start praying. And then the last step is the E, which is engage your church. So once you've kind of gone through this process, you're ready to start, pushing it out, sharing it with your church on Sundays, and just sharing with your congregation, and really encouraging them to be a light in their neighborhood daily, and to encourage this like daily use of the bless outside of church every Sunday. Like how do you get them to be a light daily and habitually, kind of like what Tim was talking about too. So and I can send you a copy of this too to kind of include in the email as well, but this is just an easy 5-step process to kind of break it down for you. And then yeah, Tim, I don't know how I'm going to close it out here.
Yeah, I mean, I think well, here, let's switch. And if you want to let me share, I will go back and share a little bit more of the um, application here real quick. Here we are. All right. So we'll kind of bring it in for a landing here. I started to show you what the LA, can you guys see my screen? All right. Yeah. So a couple things that once you get in as a church with the church tools, just as a reminder, I'll just rip through this real quick. If you're an individual, so say you're just an individual person, your screen looks like this. So this is what the individual's getting, where they get the names of their 5 people they're praying for every day. When they pray for them, right, their dashboard changes every day. And so that's on their phone, but they could also access it here. They're able to grab that, blessed list and see all the people, the individuals that they're praying for. And then they're able to map them all on their map, right? So this is my neighborhood. And these are the people that we're praying for, and taking notes on and just trying to understand. If I wanted to add, somebody new, I could, like, say I wanted to add a coworker that lives across town. They're not in my backyard. I simply would add them, right here. So I would go to bless list and just say add more. Maybe it's somebody that I'm praying for because I want them to appear on that daily list of the 5. Maybe there's somebody that I want to pray for that's overseas, doesn't have a domestic address. Well, you can hit that, right? And do it that way. So that's what the individual gets. And it's, super helpful for them to track their progress and to do that. If I was a church, so like just picking on a church, this is a great church. They've got a couple things that they're doing. So here's the church. And then what does the church do? One of the first things they do is they figure out how to upload their attenders, right? And so this church uploaded all their attenders. And the way they did that, this is their dashboard here. And on the side of the dashboard, You've got today, which is this is their dashboard. You've got the number of lights. I mean, they've got 1,414 lights right now over here. And then they have, whoops, they have their map so they can see all the activity. But then down here is a thing called attenders. And this is where, as a church, you would download your CSV file and then upload it here. We do have an API with CCB where you can sync right here immediately, but most people are using Planning Center and different things for their CRM. So you would just download you would download your CRM and then you would upload it from a CSV file back up into it. Brooke is excellent at helping you figure out how to do this, and so she can assist anybody on that process. But once you do, then all of a sudden, what happens is you're able to see all of these people, which is really, really great, right? So those are the two things. So you could see all the people, and then you could see all the lights, right? And you put the people and the lights together. Well, what you're doing is you're encouraging people to pray every day and then own the lostness of their community. So this person's owning the lostness really of all of these homes, right? Which is great. There's ways to, at some point, we're going to have ways where you can actually push communications to these folks. But this is a great tool to kind of get things mapped out and really tracking the progress, the prayer progress. I know that the Nazarenes are super into outreach. You guys are super into discipleship and helping reach out to the community. This will be a great tool for you. And then finally, I'll end on this. And we have other tools too, but the two that we're most focused on is really Blessed Partner, and then for you to be able to upload your attenders and then see the prayer activity. But back to where we started at the very beginning, we talked about the dashboard of the district, right? And what's great about this dashboard is you're able to track at a district level the activity of your churches, right? So now you're able to categorize, hey, so let's just, I'm going to, from the district level, from the district view, I'm going to hit New Heights Nazarene, and now this is their dashboard. Now I'm inside of their stuff, right? So I can kind of see their activity and what's going on. One thing I would like to make mention, because when you deal with data, it's super private and you have to be very, very careful of what gets shared. So the only thing that people can see, the only thing that churches can see is actually the activity, like what's happened. Did a person pray today? Did a person share today? That's it. There's nothing else that they can see that is dangerous, right? To have certain pieces of data. Let me give you a for example. So say a person plugged into their phone, say Terry said, "Hey, I'm gonna do the prayer request for my next door neighbor." And so Terry punches in her phone a little note about Jimmy, who's her next door neighbor, and Jimmy's got whatever going on in Jimmy's life. When they do that, right? When they do that, what ends up happening is it's only a personal note. So the church can't see that information. The pastor can't call Jimmy, oh my goodness, I heard. How did you hear? I just know these things. No, that's not what's going on. Like you can't share that information. So the only one that can see it is Terry, right? So it's a personal note for her. Because really, we believe that every person that's in our congregation should be an evangelist. They should be owning the lostness, of their backyard. And this gives them a great way to do it. So, all right, I just wanted to show you that so you can kind of understand the lay of the land and see what we could do. Are there any questions? Do you guys have any questions for our team? We're happy to give you, a little next steps, Pastor Mark, I know you kind of like were one to say, hey, we're bringing this to LA, and we're super excited about the churches that are definitely leaning in now, and it's going to take a little bit to grow it, but
Yeah, it's going to take time, but we're going to commit to it and just it's a resource I think is going to have value. And so this recording we can make available. I think the testimony of those who are using it becomes a real encouragement and a point that we can just keep on going with it. So I'm excited. I love my app. I'm still trying to learn more about it, but it's a journey. So yeah, thank you, Tim. Thank you, team.
you got
Brooke.
it. It feels like next steps then. We're going to blast this out in an email with some specific instructions. And then if you get stuck along the way, if Sue can't help you, Brooke can help you. If Brooke can't help you, if you want a demo, Landon, who's on this call, also can do a demo for you, and he can walk you through, all of the specifics for your church and make sure that you're set up correctly, which would be great. All right. Well, thank you guys for your time. Blessings.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate